I can fire this pump up and it'll protect that whole side of the house. Then I take this pump with a hose around that side of the house and I can protect that side. We have everything we need, and we're running a little low on food, but we'll take care of that when the time comes.
People doing everything they can to protect their homes from these fires that are raging in the Los Angeles area right now. But many residents, like the man you just heard from, don't plan on leaving anytime soon, which could end in a disaster. This comes as the mayor of Malibu says the Palisades fire has consumed a third of the eastern edge of the city. There are 4 major fires burning this morning: the Eaton fire, the Hearst fire, the Kenneth fire, which is now 90% contained, and of course the Palisades fire, which has decimated nearly 24,000 acres. Unbelievable. That fire just 11% contained, Kylie, and it started 5 days ago back on Tuesday, and new this morning we have learned that 16 people have died from these fires.
Yeah, so sad. Eaton fire, obviously, and the Palisades fire, unfortunately, taking the lives of too many people. When we talk about the Palisades fire, we want to give you the latest information. Right now, that fire has been inching closer and closer to the 405 freeway. If you've been in the LA area, you know that this is one of the busiest freeways in the whole entire country. Meantime, we have just learned more than 150,000 people are still under evacuation orders. It was 100,000 now. We've learned it's 150,000. So Whitney is live this morning. She was at the Eaton fire yesterday. Now she has moved to the Palisades fire. Whitney, what are you seeing from your vantage point? I know it's a little dark there, obviously, because it's still early, but already devastation and destruction as you drive around PCH.
Oh, yes. I mean, it just feels very surreal to be along this sort of idyllic, historic highway looking at some of these homes that have burned down. This coastline will never look the same. You heard the mayor talking about the damage to this city so far. I'm going to give you a look outside. When I click this camera, I mean, you can see these homes gone. The ocean just behind us here. The sun hasn't come up yet. It's still dark, but boy, we certainly feel for all of these folks who lost their homes, lost their memories. We've talked to so many people who are safe physically, but it hurts. It hurts to lose your home. It hurts to lose the place where you made these memories, a place that you love with your family. And you can see sort of the ash blowing around here. We can smell it in the car. That wind, that is going to be the big concern for fire crews. So you guys mentioned the fire getting close to the 405. We were right on the fire line with crews just yesterday, and we want to show you some of that video because we saw a number of aerial drops. So this was some work they were doing yesterday. There was a break in the wind, so that was the good news. Yesterday they were doing this work to try to contain the flames to prevent them from moving up this canyon. So this is called Mandeville Canyon. For people who are not familiar with this area, as Kylie was mentioning, this is right up against the 405. It is just sort of to the north of the Getty, and then also sort of to the northwest of UCLA, a campus many people are familiar with. So the goal yesterday was to sort of create these lines and prevent those flames from reaching up into the homes. They had fire stations and fire crews that were actually, they had an engine by a home, and the job of that engine was to protect that home. It's a private community, but, in the Los Angeles area, the homes are so condensed. There are so many people that kind of live right on top of each other. So they really were trying to make sure that that fire didn't reach up into that canyon. For now, it seems like that was sort of successful for the most part. So certainly today they'll be monitoring the winds. And if you want to take us live again, this is another live look at sort of the damage along the highway. There are, I'm trying to figure out what kind of crews these are. If these are with the power company, the gas company, there's construction crews working to get the power back on. You can see these lights are on, but it has been off in areas along the Pacific Coast Highway. So once again, the weather and what that does today is going to be huge for these fire crews, Kylie and David. And I'll tell you, I met a firefighter the other day, and he told me that he was one of the first to respond to the Eaton fire, and he worked for 50 hours straight.
Wow.
So that's just what some of these guys are doing. And so our thoughts are certainly with those fire crews, and our thoughts are certainly with those who've lost loved ones. And we've met people from Arizona who are here trying to help family members. So this impacts so many people, of course, in Southern California and in our state as well.
Wow. 50 hours, 2 full days of nonstop work. I mean, the first responders are the heroes in this situation, and we thank them so much for what they're doing.
Those people, those crews at the mercy of those winds. We're going to get back to California and those fires in just a few minutes, Kylie, but I know there's some weather issues here that we have to talk about as well.
We are tracking a first alert morning. Stay in bed if you don't like the cold, because it is the coldest morning that we have all experienced in about a year.
Wow.
Pete,
Yes.
you are tracking our first alert forecast. Is there any change to come? Or are we going to continue on this cold streak?
We're continuing, and that comes with a change. So the answer to your question is 2 yeses. We have a change on the way tomorrow morning. So that freeze warning that was in effect until 9 a.m. this morning, that's still there, but we have an additional freeze warning tonight through tomorrow morning. This includes the Phoenix metro area and most of southern Arizona. So if you haven't already, make sure to protect those plants if it's not too late for those plants, and be mindful of the pets, which may not be used to this chilly weather. Let's also talk winds. We have a wind advisory here in western Arizona, including Lake Havasu City through this afternoon, potentially some gusts of around 30 to 45 miles an hour with some blowing dust. In the valley, not nearly as breezy, around 5 to 12 miles an hour. We're talking about the temperatures. Let's show you them right now. 34 for Paradise Valley. We have 39 in Tempe. Chandler, 31 degrees. At Watuki at 33. Goodyear, 38. Buckeye, 41. And Phoenix at 42. Wickenburg sitting at 35. Temperatures will continue to climb, but not terribly mild today, but of course milder than this morning. 56 by noontime, 63 by 4 p.m. We were just mentioning the weather in California. Here's a look at the wind gusts as we head throughout the afternoon. Unfortunately, they don't completely go away. You see some gusts of around 30, 40 miles an hour, especially at some of the higher elevations. Now, these winds will be localized. It's not windy everywhere. There may be parts of the valleys which are calm today. But in general, unfortunately, we do see the trend of the winds picking up, especially as we go late Monday into Tuesday and Wednesday. You could see by Monday afternoon potentially some gusts back up to around 50 miles an hour in some of the higher hills out towards Santa Clarita and also further to the east. So we'll keep you posted on this. Also, one final note, normally from October to January, Los Angeles gets about 7 inches of rainfall. This year, since October, they've had about 0.16 inches of rain. That's basically nothing. So that's obviously not helping the situation as well. Back to you.
Usually they get 7 inches, and they've gotten 1/10 of an inch. That really puts it into perspective.
Yep.
Thank you, Pete. Back here in the Valley for resources on how to protect your family from the cold. Again, protect those pipes, plants, your pets, the elderly. And to get your hour-by-hour forecast, be sure to download our First Alert weather app. We've got the QR code right now. Get out your phone, scan that. Again, it is a First Alert weather day today in the morning, and then tomorrow as well. Another very cold morning to start a new work week.
Let's go back to California now. We want to get you caught up on the latest numbers on the 4 major fires burning this morning. Firefighters have made the most progress battling the Kenneth fire right now, which is 90% contained. Then the Hearst fire is 76% contained as well, with about 800 acres burned. In total, nearly 40,000 acres have been burned in LA County. Officials say more than 700 people are staying in 9 available shelters in the area. The fires have devastated the Southern California community, and in response, a new task force has been developed to determine what kicked off these fires in the first place. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms will take the lead, working on the same team that investigated the Maui fires last year. The team will work on a cause. It could be arson, a power line failure, or something else. That is all the details we have right now as well. In some areas, firefighters could only watch as homes went up in flames. Kylie, we know that there's been a lot of conversation, discussion, controversy around those fire hydrants that went dry in some areas.
And we're working to find out more information about why they went dry. We do know that the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has ordered that independent investigation onto why the fire hydrants ran dry. That is certainly a question that a lot of people have, both in Arizona and obviously in California as well. So here's what the governor of California says. He says supplies from local fire hydrants are not designed to extinguish wildfires over large areas, and losing water has really set back firefighters' efforts. We spoke to an ASU professor who says that a major issue led to those hydrants running dry, and that major issue was a critical reservoir capable of holding about 117 million gallons of water. It was taken offline for repairs. That means the main source of available water to tackle these fires has come from water towers.
they did have a reservoir which was being repaired, so there wasn't water in it. So if you have suddenly 100 houses catching fire and you were designing for a max of, the largest building and a few houses, you basically will run out of that water very quickly.
So no word yet on how crews are getting water now, but as soon as anything comes from the investigation, we of course will let you know. A lot of people wondering and have valid questions about this.
Okay, véngase por acá que la viene nosotras.
The saddest part about these wildfires, Kylie, is how it affects wildlife. Obviously, in addition to the people losing their homes, humans, of course, aren't the only ones being evacuated because of the LA fires. This is a look at the herd of goats as their caretakers try to urge them, look at this, into a trailer as the Palisades fire rages on. The Palisades fire practically at their doorstep there. Thankfully, it looks like the herd was able to get into that trailer and safely driven away. Just heartbreaking for the wildlife in that area and the pets as well. Many of them couldn't make it out. We'll have coverage of the LA fires all morning long. We will check back in with Whitney, who is live there in California, in the next half hour. In the meantime, to stay up to date with the latest or for more information on how you can help those affected by the fires to our friends in California, be sure to download our free Azfamily News app. And as soon as we know more, we will send you a push alert directly to your phone.
Happy Sunday morning to you. Elena here, and we've got some weekend construction closures that we want to warn you about before you head out the door. The biggest one being the I-10 eastbound is closed between the 51 to where the 202 and the 60 meet. This started Friday night. It won't reopen until tomorrow morning. So your alternatives to get around this major closure is either taking the 202 South Mountain or Red Mountain Freeway. The next and final closure for this weekend is State Route 143 northbound. This will affect the East Siders if you are going to Sky Harbor. So if you have a flight to catch, this is closed until tomorrow morning as well. So it's best if you use Sky Harbor's west entrance to get to your flight today.
Well, quieting your inner critic. So many of us have that inner critic, right? And in Whitney's podcast, Beyond the Next Chapter, she talks to a doctor turned author on how to be enough for yourself. Certainly an important conversation. We'll have more right after this.